Hey guys, I'm Smay and I worked last semester on the Full Steam Ahead education kit for my senior design. This is kind of as a quick start guide as to how to get started in making your own blocks for the MicroBit microcontroller. So you can see over here on the left side that we have the MicroBit side and the main body side. We had a main body that we had appendages connected to interact with the MicroBit controller as kind of like a Mr. Potato Head module. You can ask Dr. Brothers for more information or look at our capstone video. But you can see that these parts that we created, these blocks, are not part of the original microbit ecosystem, and we worked on creating them. You can always work in the microbit editor online and create your own files in here, but I was more on the local end, so I didn't really like working within the browser to get all my work done. So there's a pretty nifty guide online to use Node.js to install MakeCode, and you can work directly within VS Code. This is some of the work that we did last year, so we could get started on making the actual blocks. The way that the blocks work is that you can create a namespace for your file. And with this namespace, it shows you right here that our, subsections within the microbit ecosystem are named after our namespace. You get started with that metadata. You can choose a color for it and a little icon. If you go to our GitHub page, there's a table that shows you all the icons and what numbers they relate to. So after that, you can get started with doing whatever code you need. I started with the microbit module and I had this to get every microbit microcontroller that will be interacting to extend from this. We went with an object-oriented paradigm since we didn't know if we wanted to have multiple microbit controllers. So we created a pretty nifty starting point for you guys. Over here, you can see a lot of this metadata that I use to create the actual blocks within the microbit controller. So you can see over here that the group is basic functionality, and basic functionality just basically means that similar to Bluetooth and the other controller stuff that we have here, it would be encompassed under just basic functionality. And if you wanted advanced functionality, it would create a more tab. There isn't anything really advanced that we did that the students would have to interact with, so there aren't any advanced tabs, but you can follow that same procedure and create this little advanced tab right here. All right, most of our work was within the actual main body, so I'll switch over to that real quick. You can see that we have a main body subsection within the main body namespace, a button interaction, wheel interaction, music block interaction. So if we go back to the main body file real quick, we can see that we can make these groups that create these headers and line breaks to create little, different sections. So then the student has a easier time understanding what they're doing. So if you see over here, we create this main body, it just returns a new main body function. Your implementation might be different. This is just a start guide on how to use the microbit ecosystem and create your own blocks. So over here, you can see that with the block ID, it creates an identification for the block. And with the block equals text, you can see that this test right here, the test button, is right here. It tests the button appendage and then the text that we put. Test button appendage with percentage main body. The percentage sign takes a type of object. So here main body is typically a variable, which is why it has rounded edges in here. It'll test the button appendage with the main body. So it's basically the same for most of the stuff that we do. We have this function right here, interact button. This little description right here kind of looks like Java docs. It's right here and it says that this will be a threaded function used to check if the button module is connected. And you can see that it's put right here. So I did most of my work offline, I guess, so then it would be simpler. And after you follow these instructions online real quick, all of your stuff from the MicroBit website is on here. So if I wanted to check, let's say the I2C read number function, if I hit control click, it tells me this I2C read number function, how Microsoft implemented it. It was also really helpful in getting these things when I was starting off, since I didn't really know how to create the blocks. You can just copy and paste these and replace them with what you'd like to replace them with, and it places it in its respective group. All of these little function headers serve as metadata to create the actual blocks within the Microsoft MakeCode thing when you import it. And the really nice thing about working within VS Code is that the editor is just much better telling you where you have errors. This was my first time ever working with TypeScript, and I imagine it will be the same for many of you. So using VS Code just makes it a lot simpler to start coding from the development end. And you can see that you can just import your files in here real quick, which is the plus with the Explorer button. It's a pretty simple process, and it's not that difficult once you get started. So after following these instructions, you can create a new project within whatever folder you want. And we highly recommend that you use GitHub for this project. I started off with MicroPython, realized that BBC no longer supported MicroPython since Microsoft bought it, and it's kind of a closed environment with TypeScript. So there's a lot of revision, is what I'm trying to get to. The nice thing about GitHub is that I made a lot of mistakes that I had to revert on. And since I use VS Code, it has very nice Git interaction and source control. So I don't have Git downloaded this new laptop, but with the source control, it can auto save all the changes you make. And with those auto saves, you can revert back to a time where something wasn't working. It also makes it a lot simpler because since you're not working in the browser, you don't have to worry about a refresh getting rid of all of your work. VS Code autosaves all your work, and you can see over here how many commits I made to the actual GitHub to start changing and working on stuff. Moreover, if you guys do decide to head over to our Capstone Fall 2023 project, it tells you kind of our progress and how I got this to work. It also has this helpful note. It lets you choose some of these icons with a identifier, which you can see I use right here for the icon of the main body module. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to ask Dr. Brothers. He'll shoot me an email and I'll be happy to help you guys out.